Hey guys, I'm Mac with San Antonio Triathlete, and today we're meeting with Monica Caban. How are you today?
Hi, Mac. Thanks for having me, or thanks for coming to my house and, inviting me to do this with you. I feel honored.
Well, thank you for having us, especially here in your home, and taking out time for us. And we just want to chat about some things today and just kind of, let the community know, what's going on with Monica these days and a little bit about you.
Yeah.
A lot of people know about you because of your accident, but we want to kind of let the community know who you are, and before all that, and how you got your tri bug and why you love to be a triathlete and things of that nature. So kind of let's rewind a little bit and take us back to the day where you completed your first triathlon.
Well, I had a girlfriend of mine who said she was training for a triathlon, and I was like, is that when you do all three, the swim, the bike, and the run? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, surely if she can do it, I can do it. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. And I kind of just looked online, kind of researched, really didn't confer with anybody, didn't really tell anybody I was doing this, and I just went out and did it. And Captex Tri, beginner tri was my first years ago, and I got that bug once I finished that race. And after I didn't die from it, I kind of thought, well, what's the next one? And so it was the sprint, and then the Olympic, and then then you go to the half iron, and then lo and behold, I'm doing this Ironman, and it just kind of crept up on me. And just kind of
quick, huh?
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the person I am, really. I look at the pool and I don't look for the shallow end. I go straight into the deep part. My mom has always said I've done things backwards, and I've always find my way to where I'm going, where I'm headed. Whatever my plan is, it usually happens. So I have, I guess, that kind of luck, and I was a professional sales person. I was working for an animal health company, selling, you name it, from nutraceuticals to heartworm meds to antibiotics. I mean, anything for animals.
So needless to say, you were a busy girl.
Yeah, I was a busy girl, and my territory when I first started was all the way up to the Panhandle, down to the Rio Grande.
Oh, wow.
And so I had over 1,200 clients, and then shortly after I got it cut in half. So the furthest I went was to Midland and Odessa, and all the way down to the Rio Grande. So needless to say, the schedule that I had with my ex-husband at the time was 1 week on, 1 week off. So it became a little easy to kind of develop, the routine of work and then coming home to a workout, and then if I had the kids, then the kids. So I can't say that I had my mind was at top notch, but I mastered maybe doing a lot of things at once, and maybe just not doing everything at my 100%, and that eventually led to where I am today. So that kind of catapults everything up until the accident. Before the accident, it was November 5th, 2011, when I did Ironman Florida.
Okay.
And I had pretty much gone a whole year, because I had done San Antonio Marathon the year before, so kind of go straight in. And I took a little break, and we went straight into training for November. And Dawn Elder was my coach, and I don't know if you know her, but she's fierce and scary. And so I really didn't know how to adapt to so much change, so much work. So I couldn't understand, why do we work out every single day? I understand, why don't we have a break? And my body went through a lot of rejection. God knows, the Sports Medicine Associates knew me by name. They laugh at me because they're like, "You're the only athlete that would walk in with heels." And they're like, "We know that's Monica." I'm like, I'd go in and go, "Fix it! Have a race next week." So between them and Dr. Milner, I made them pretty comfortable for a while. But
they ate well during that time, right?
What?
They ate well during that time.
Yeah, they sure did. That's right. I didn't, but they did. And you know, there was a lot to be said during that year. It seems like I had kind of been, you know, just a kite in the wind, really no direction, I guess you would say. You know, I just kind of got where I got to. I've always worked hard, but once I got, you know, through this Ironman, it all made kind of sense. I did create, you know, there were some sacrifices that were truly, you know, made during that year. You know, one was especially with my children. They didn't understand. You know, they wanted their mommy there. You know, I'd have to miss a soccer game, and you know, I'd have to have talks with my son and say, hey, you know, do you play soccer for you or do you play soccer for mom? And he's like, well, I play soccer for me. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, I'm there in spirit, you know, and I'm doing something for mommy that makes her happy, just like you're doing something for you that makes you happy. And so, you know, those were a lot of things, you know, when kids are that age, you know, back then it was, you know, 10, 11, you know.
Stuff you didn't understand.
Yeah, they just don't. And, you know, then they kind of see it's kind of cool when their schoolmate, you know, his dad says, you know, oh, is that Monica Caban? I know her. She did this race or that race. And so the boy would say, hey, your mom's like an Iron Man. And he was like, yeah, she's an Iron Man. So it kind
of gave him some bragging.
Yeah, I had a little bit of a bragging right there. You know, so I was really skeptical whether or not I was going to do Arizona. You know, I was dedicated at the beginning, and like I said, it's come full circle for me. And you know, I had developed to go on a different path and focus on my family. And so, you know, Don and I were not meeting eye to eye on that. And I kind of felt like, well, I know where to push my body. I know how to, you know, where my limits are. I'm experienced now. And I knew that I would beat my time the year before, no problem, because I got sick on the run. That's terrible.
From nutrition or?
A mistake I made right off the bike. Yeah, nutrition. And I'm telling you, it was awful. I was trying to hit every porta potty I could find.
You tried something new? Is that what it was?
No, it wasn't something I forgot to eat. I was satiated off the bike, and I forgot to eat, and you have to eat. So I forgot to eat my sandwich, and I just started, you know, eating some gels and goos or whatever. And
nothing solid.
And it just did not agree. And sure, for miles, I was up to mile 10, 11 by the time I started feeling good again. It was horrible. It was horrible. So, but I got through it, and all the stuff that I had on me, you know, that I had prepped for, I'm glad I had, because it worked. So, you know, coming towards, you know, 2012 and a month into a month near my Ironman Arizona, I end up getting hit, and my life has changed in the most dramatic, craziest, insane way possible. You know, I'm the person that never sits still or didn't know how to sit still, and you know, could run like the Energizer Bunny. And now it's, you know, like I was talking to you before, it's very methodical on how I choose to spend my days. You know, I dedicate in my job to me and my family is to walk again, and that's my job. Is the number one job is to walk again and dedicate everything to PT while I'm there. So I've been going to PT Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you know, very consistently. And then within the last month or so, once I started getting a little better, once I started, you know, my body was, you know, healing from surgeries that were, you know, a result of the injury. My body just did not know how to react to any of it. And, you know, by the time I knew it, you know, I'd be pass out on the couch. I don't even remember passing out and waking up several hours later. Yeah. So up until a month ago, I started incorporating swimming on my Tuesdays or Thursdays, day off. And then just recently, I'm bringing on Jennifer Roulon to help me with that core, because well, with insurance they run out. and my sessions will be coming to a close pretty soon, and so we got to figure out other alternatives for me to do.
Gotcha. Well, there's a lot of ladies out there going to be watching this. Just kind of give them a real quick, and we'll loop back around in just a minute. That sacrifice with the training, how did that make you feel in relationship to your children?
Yeah, getting back to, a lot of sacrificing and lessons learned, and, through the whole process, I had a lot of my closest friends really just look at me under the microscope and say, how could you do this? It's a very selfish thing. And it truly is a selfish thing when you're going through it, especially when you do have kids. I think it's almost impossible, when you have little ones, unless you have a great partner, or great babysitter, or, when two careers are involved, it's really hard. But nonetheless, after the accident, those friends of mine, they're like, we want you so badly to get back to that, because that's who you were. Yeah, it totally defined. It doesn't define me, but it really brought out like the trueness of me, what I'm about. No BS kind of girl. I'm educated. I supported myself through college and got my master's. I felt like I was sort of on top of the world, but let alone I had gone through a divorce and really, truly trying to find something for me. And so when I found triathlon, it was so new. It was mine. It was
something
for me.
You owned.
Yeah, totally. I owned, and that nobody could take away.
That's right.
So, that's I know that I've inspired a lot of people, to get out there nonetheless, and do a 5K or a 10K, and asking me, how do I start, or what do I do, and eventually, I think it'd be fun to coach and help people try to do beginners. That would be awesome, to do. But there's a lot of options for me to go into after I'm all said and done. And I truly believe that I'll walk again. I am walking again. I'm in braces, and the whole thing about that is making sure that those are on as much as possible, without overdoing it. That's kind of where I think my PT has gone so well, is that automatically I came out of it going, I don't know how to do this, but I do know how to do Ironman. So I incorporated all the lessons and skills that I learned with Ironman, which I'm the most impatient person in the world, but it did teach me, that you did have to have patience on the bike, on the run, especially the swim. Every discipline. And so when it came to putting it in my mind that, am I going to sit here and cry and be depressed in this chair or hospital bed, or am I going to just jump right back up and, pick up where I left off?
Absolutely.
And that's kind of been my mantra and attitude. And some people don't understand how I'm so positive, and I, that's of course that's me to the public, but behind closed doors, I've had my days where I've just cried and cried and cried, and it's hard not to get emotional talking about it, because I almost died. I truly almost died, and for some reason he spared me that day, and I know that now that there is truly a purpose for me to be on here on this earth, and I want to give back as much as I can.
You were just saying a little bit ago, you've inspired so many that you've spoken to since the accident.
Yeah, high school friends that are coming out of the woodworks that, said, I know you didn't know me, but I found out what happened. There's still people finding out, people that are, from out of state or wherever, Germany, and getting, Facebook messages. Now I'm getting messages from people in different states that I have no idea who they are.
And they're Facebooking you?
Yeah, and they're
wow.
Facebooking me. I saw your article in Infant Magazine. I'm like, you know, and then they're saying it. They're from. They're you know how it says where they're from.
Right.
Or under their iPhone, it'll say South Carolina. I'm like, you know, how do you know about the Infant Magazine? Yeah. So.
Well, Infant will be glad to hear that.
What?
Infant will be glad to hear that.
And Elliot is. I mean, he's a true sweetheart, and we go back pretty far back. You know, when his buddy Russell was first getting into it, and he remembers it, and I was kind of help coaching him. It's going to be okay, you know. And he said, I just kind of always followed you, and he just felt real drawn to me once, you know, I had the accident. So, you know, and I think, you know, I'm always out there. I've never tried to be that one to, yes, I'm competitive, and I'm going to compete against myself. I'm not going to compete against, you know, my friend that's in the same age group, or, you know, we're friends, and that's what it's for. When it became that much, I'm not getting paid for it, you know. It's like, right. This to me is truly fun, and you know, the results were, you know, finally had a rockin' bod, you know. I'm like, yes,
had to do an Ironman and get it.
Had to do, yeah, exactly. And believe me, the weight, you know, came back on as soon as I finished. It's hard. I mean, 'cause you just can't keep up that level.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. And so, you know, as far as coming and being in the present, I mean, it's very hard for me to see all my friends on Facebook, and they're posting, just did, you know, 60-miler, you know, and everybody's getting ready for Texas.
I was going to ask you that. Seeing that, how does that make Monica feel?
Well, for one, I know that there's going to be a lot of Racing for Monica jerseys out there. Mm-hmm. And so, like I said, you know, I'm going to sacrifice, you know, being in this chair or being in my braces, and trying to be out there as long as I can to support them and cheer them on, and being out there for them. You know, because I'm truly blessed that they, you know, are going to be wearing my jersey.
You want to kind of return that favor.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I want to be, you know, screaming at their faces and, you know, pumping them up along the way. And so, you know, yeah, it truly gets maddening. You know, when every day was something.
Absolutely.
And, you know, now it's a patient, you know, I have to be okay with, you know, okay, I had an hour PT, and, you know, that was like essentially a 3-hour workout. You know, that's how I equate, you know, because I put so much into it, and that's why when I get home, I zonk out, and, you know, it can't be bothered. I just have to go to sleep, and that's what I learned in Ironman is you sleep, that's when you re-energize, that's when you heal. And so that's what I try to tell my children, and when, you know, all they do, they think is like, you know, do this and sleep, and it is. It's the truth.
But they don't understand the reason for the
right.
sleep and the rest.
Yeah, and I try to explain to them. I said, you know, mommy's healing, and this is good, that God blessed me to even sleep. You know, some people can't sleep. And I can sleep, and, you know, when the pain is so severe, I mean, it'll come whenever it wants to come, and it'll come mostly when I've worked them, you know, after PT, and surprisingly after swimming. I guess all the pounds per pressure in the water, because when they're just kind of fishtailing along, I'm not using any legs, so you know, that pain is really hard to manage. And I'm really looking forward to the pain going away, but I don't want the pain to go away, because that means it's healing, you know, the nerves, right. And that's what the pain is neuropathic pain, and you know, it's scary too.
How's that constant pain made an effect on your emotions?
Well,
in your your day-to-day.
Well, for one thing, I've always kind of had this extremely high tolerance for pain. I don't know why.
We have to be an Ironman.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes. You know, and you know, when the accident happened, that's what you can truly call pain. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to act. I didn't know to scream or to cry or be quiet. I mean, I couldn't handle it. And I mean, it was so bad that, you know, I was crying for my mommy. literally crying for my mommy. And I don't know if you knew back then, but I mean, we got in trouble with the hospital because everybody was coming in from everywhere, and I had like 35 people lined outside the hospital. You know, I was in ICU, and I had up to 8 people
all the time
in ICU, and they'd just be still. You know, they're like, we know what she needs, and this is what she needs is us, my friends from school, and you know.
It's an emotional support makes.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
And they knew exactly how to make me feel better.